So it's the time of the year again where we sit in front of the fireplace to discuss important worldly matters such as what to eat for dinner, where to go during the weekends, how to hide your latest earphone purchases from your partners, and the list goes on. If you like this content and find my cold jokes amusing, you can be a superstar by pressing the like and subscribe button right here down below. You guys are awesome. So after hiding them away, I can now talk about them to you. Okay, sorry for the sudden cut. This is very important. I need to let you guys know this. That will be that I'm doing a giveaway. The link to the giveaway will be here underneath in the description below. Please click on it. There is some instruction on how you can participate in it. You will win a final A4000. So there'll be one very lucky winner to win the A4000 off of me. This is a brand new box. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Just let me preface this, there are a lot of really good earphones in the market, and if your favorite does not appear on this list, don't worry, I feel you, because my favorite earphones might not even make it to your list either. Also, the list here is only meant for chifi earphones, so I'm not saying that these are better than the Vision Ears, Aroma Audio, etc. But these are just China stuff. Let's start off first with one notable mention. Firstly, the Simgot EW200. Simgot, as you know by now, have had quite a stellar year where they released quite a fair bit of earphones, starting off with the popular EA500, which was a technical beast at its asking price, with modularity that includes changeable nozzles as well. They then released the EW100 and EW200, and the EW200 is my pick for a sub $50 US IEM. It has a beautiful metal build at its asking price, but I must note that it isn't as refined in terms of finish compared to its more expensive brethren. But if you are sober over this, I need to remind you that you cannot compare costume jewelry to the real ones made by Tiffany & Co. These are quite sturdy as they can withstand my 1-ton ass, and also comfort is top dollar on these as well. Inside these is a single dynamic driver for absolute coherence. When it comes to sonics, these are a natural warm V-shaped IEM that reminds me of the Tange Gym Oxygen. There's a slight emphasis on the upper mid-range which allows for vocals to sound delectably sweet. It is a very well-balanced set that really, if you're looking to spend a little more than just $20 for some entry-level chifi, you should seriously consider the EW200. With that said, let's now talk about the serious chi-fi stuff, my top 3. Kicking things off in third place, that will go to the 7Hz Sonus. Also, just a short shameless plug, I did visit the 7Hz factory earlier this year, and if you want to look at some of the processors, do check out the bubble above or below down in the description on that video. So the Sonus is a custom universal shape IEM that looks a little different from other offerings. It has a two-material construction with anodized aluminum on the faceplate for added durability, while the part with the nozzle is made of some sort of resin. When manufacturers use plastics, I am always a little worried if the chassis is a little bit too thin, but I'm happy to say that for the Sonus, this isn't the case at all. The plastic components used feel solid enough and not the type of plastics that would just creak when you press them. The faceplate is also interesting as it isn't a flat design. There is a raised section which adds a layer of dimension to the design and allows it to look fresh compared to the usually flat look. The Sonus features a 2-pin termination, which is great for folks who enjoy swapping out cables, but I wonder why would you want to do so, because the provided cable is quite nice. I call this cable the Kway Teow cable. Anyways, Kway Teow is a type of flat noodle available here in Singapore and is especially yummy when fried. The Sonus is a hybrid IEM that features a 11.3mm dynamic driver that is paired with a balanced armature. Chassis is comfortable to use as expected with its custom universal shape. The main question of comfort will be likely with the cable, as it is thicker and flatter than traditional cables. However, I find the cables to be quite comfortable to use despite their unconventional shape. I especially appreciate how easy it is to deploy the cables on the Sonus, as they simply fall out and untangle themselves with ease. When it comes to sound, the Sonus is a balanced IEM that has a good blend of bass that is mixed with an exciting upper mids. Although I did mention that the upper mids are exciting, but it never really wanders off the realm of being too much and harsh. It has an overall very natural tonal weight that is quite different from other recent releases, which can be a little bit thicker. Based on the Sonus, these sounds a little bit faster when compared to the rest of the competition. For folks who know a bit about bass amplifier cabinets, the bass on the Sonus is likened that to a 4x8-inch cabinet. More drivers but smaller, this allows the bass to be nimbler and more articulate. Sub-bass extension here is also really good. It has a realistic resonance that tapers naturally into the mid-bass. On the whole, bass resolution is pretty impressive with nice resonance. It is also pretty speedy sounding without bass bleeding all over. I think for the target price, the technicalities in the bass regions are really quite impressive. Vocals are presented in a way that it is emphasized through a slight bump in the upper mids that lets it have superior separation from the rest of the supporting instruments. Of late, I must admit, I have been listening to idols again, please don't judge me, and it's very nice to have the vocals to be the highlight. There is a silkiness when it comes to female vocals, and I think how the Sonus renders it is especially really quite amazing for the ACG style music. Male vocals adapt the natural presentation that is rendered on the Sonus. It does not come across as overly throaty or gritty, but rendered in a way that it is just very natural. I think the level of transparency is quite awesome for a product in its price class. There is very good definition between the notes for both vocals and instruments that is matched with a lifelike tonality. Treble is smooth and effortless, aloof even. But that said, it is still very energetic that gives a very well-defined shape to the rest of the range, and this is certainly adequately airy. Next up in second place, the Truthear Nova. Definitely for sure we have a brand that has a waifu on the front cover, and no, this time around it is not Moondrop. In the number 2 spot, we have the Truthear Nova that features incredible performance at a low price point. The build quality of the Nova is similar to the Truthear Zero, following a black resin shell that has a stylized face featuring the blue wavy pattern designs with some sparkles. The shell itself is emblazoned with the Truthear brand and the left and right markings for respective sides, and a flush 0.78mm 2-pin connector. Some can mistake this for the Truthear Zero, as it does look quite similar apart from the fabric cable. The cable is alright, as I found it a little bit microphoning and can be a little bit annoying, but this really isn't a problem because you can easily swap them out. You just get any other 2-pin cable. If you're on 4.4, just swap them out. The stock cable, it's alright. Not great, but alright. So yes, the Nova does look similar to the Truthear Zero, but bigger. It fits me fine, but those of you who have smaller ears do take note on this. The Nova follows a pretty standard hybrid configuration, a single dynamic driver that is paired to 4 balanced armature with a 10mm dynamic driver and 2 dual balanced armatures. To cut to the chase, the Nova features what is basically a Harman tuning to a T. What this means is that the Nova has quite full bass that is well balanced with the rest of the frequency range. I found that the bass is tight and punchy with very good control, but wish that it had just a bit more dynamics in terms of tone. However, it does layer nicely with the rest of the frequency range and does not cut into the lower mids. As such, I never really noticed any mid-bass bloat, but it still does have really good resonance coming from the dynamic driver, which is quite unlike bass that is done by balanced armatures. Overall, it's a very nice, comfortable listen. The mids are fantastic for the price. It produces vocals beautifully and instruments sound cohesive and not unnatural, but that is to be expected with a Harman-tuned IEM. It's got the slight upper mid-range focus and would again work beautifully with ACG style music. The mid-range timbre is also very nice and natural without too fast decay or feeling a little bit too sluggish. As for upper frequencies, treble extends very well and isn't bright enough to cause fatigue when listening. It is smooth and presents itself well, no sudden peak, and certainly very comfortable to listen to for longer hours. So really, I do rather enjoy the Nova, and from the first time I heard them, I thought they were really quite amazing, and after further listening, they did not disappoint. This is a very solid second place. And finally in first place, my favorite chifi IEM of 2023. As mentioned earlier, I think that Simgot has a stellar year and they ended it off with the EA1000 format. The EA1000 is not only technically good but offers quite a bit more with their passive radiator that provides this lovely halation of sound that is also addictive. The EA1000 comes in a mirror finish, and as you know, mirror finishes is quite a pain in the butt to make simply because any finishing error can be easily seen. I'm happy to say that mine came in a pristine condition. Any marks in the B-roll that you see here is due to my fat, grubby hands. At the front of the IEM, you have a beveled glass faceplate with some patterns underneath it. I think that this really makes the EA1000 look very premium. On the back of the chassis, you see the opening for the passive radiator near the top of the IEM. Below that is the usual raised section as seen in the EA500, where this makes the IEM so much more comfortable to use. The nozzle here is interchangeable, but it does have the red ring nozzle on as default, and most of the time I'm using that nozzle anyway, so my impressions are based off that. The EA1000 comes in an interchangeable 2-pin termination. Cable provider is a silver-plated OFC LITS cable. Driver-wise, the EA1000 has the 2nd generation dual magnet, dual chamber dynamic driver that Simgot uses. The diaphragm, although no mentions of what material is used, is a beautiful purple gold alloy that has superior rigidity and lightweightness. The EA1000 is a natural warm IEM. What sets it apart from others in the market with such a tuning is the inclusion of a passive radiator. I found that this inclusion really makes bass very resonant and very lifelike. It just augments the texture of bass, making them airy and a little bit more diffuse, but more importantly, very natural sounding. Bass. The passive radiator makes a huge difference in the tone of the bass of the EA1000. The way it changes it tonally with added resonance and realistic decay is simply delectable. By no way is the bass texture of the EA1000 like that of an open IEM, which really dissipates too quickly. The bass here is fast with unbelievable texture and very natural decay. I would say that the bass is very airy sounding, yet at the same time really full, if that makes sense. Sub-bass extension is extensive on the EA1000. You get good levels of visceral bass impact that is mated nicely to a robust mid-bass offering. But importantly to note is that these are not bass hit IEMs, but neither are they anemic. I found that Simgot has really done a good job controlling the quantity of bass and really more importantly, the texture of bass. The improvement in texture does make bass to have this 3D-like rendering. Mid-range on the EA1000 has a upper mid-range focus which really helps with female vocals. Female vocals just sound so delectable and sweet. Resolution here is a whole level up from the EA500 that came before it. There is an airiness to the tone that again coalesces well with the fundamental female tones, which is exhilarating. Male vocals are full sounding but not overly full or grunty. It again has the very airy yet full sounding texture which really bolsters a new dimension to listening. I really enjoy this new added subtlety to the overall tone. Instruments that dwell in this range is also very articulate sounding. Pianos are also very crisp and clear with a very high level of finesse. Treble, I bet by now you guys have already guessed the character of the treble. It is basically a very effortless, smooth and airy affair. This adds a very good level of perceived space. So yes, I think that the EA1000 is a true standout in the world of chi-fi for me this year. I've been to quite a few Chinese events this year and of course tried some of their latest releases that you guys might not even know in the international market scene yet, from the likes of Moondrop, Tangzu and whatever. But companies such as Truthear 700 and Simgot have really stepped up and surpassed Moondrop when it comes to sonics. These earphones are quite consistently in my rotation. And with that said, I hope you guys like this episode, and since it's the holiday season soon, my wish is for everybody to be happy and have a great holiday. Oh yes, just one more thing to mention if I've not mentioned it earlier in this video, which I have not and I need to add something in earlier. Yeah, I will be doing a giveaway, so this giveaway will be consisting of a final A4000. How to participate is very simple, just follow the instructions below. I'll have a link there, just click the link and see what it tells you to do. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching a Super Audio Show, and I hope to see you guys very soon. Have a great holiday.